Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtake. So we are continuing with Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 2, Divinity and Divine Service, text number 1. Vyaso vacha iti samprashna samhrishto vipranam ramaharshanahi pratipujya vachastesham pravaktum upakchakrame. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Ugra Shrava or Sutta Goswami, the son of Romaharshana, being fully satisfied by the perfect questions of the Brahmanas, thanked them and thus attempted to reply. Om Agyana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Hare Krishna to everyone. Thank you so much for joining. So today, the chapter that we are going to cover is about divinity and divine service. As this first verse that I read, Srila Vyasadeva is informing us about the identity of Sutta Goswami. Who is he? He's the son of Romaharshana Sutta. And Sutta Goswami, he was satisfied by perfect questions. That is the proper etiquette when it comes to spirituality. The questions should be perfect. In other words, they should be relevant and something that's going to be, the answer is going to be beneficial for us. So those are the kind of questions that are considered perfect. And that should satisfy the speaker also, which means the questions are not about logistics, like who said what to whom and where and why, etc., etc. But it should be concerning how to progress spiritually. And that is what these sages did. They asked perfect questions, and that satisfied the speaker, which is Sutta Goswami. So because he was satisfied and happy, he thanked the sages, because Sutta Goswami understood that the answers to these questions is going to benefit the entire humanity, which means they were asked for us. Because if there are no questions, there are going to be no answers, and then there will be no progress spiritually. Just like we see in the Bhagavad Gita. If Arjuna had not asked questions, there would be no Bhagavad Gita. It's because of his perfect questions that Krishna gave us perfect answers so that we can benefit from those answers. So we can see from this question and answer sessions that spirituality is not based on blind faith. Someone said something, we just go ahead and do. No, we need to understand, we need knowledge, we need to have references from the scriptures that can help us to understand what is going on. See, the intelligence that has been given to us by the Supreme Lord is to be used to inquire and remove all our doubts. But as I mentioned earlier, the Bhagavad Gita chapter 4 verse 34, Krishna clearly states, inquire submissively and render service unto the bona fide spiritual master. Then that spiritual master will be satisfied and will bless us. So here we see Sutta Goswami, he is in this chapter, he's going to first offer his obeisances to Shukadev Goswami, who's a great sage. We heard about Shukadev Goswami 2 classes, 3 classes previously, where we understood the high position of Shukadev Goswami, a great sage. So, offering obeisances, which means offering our respect, humble respect, that is a sign of humility. See, people don't like to bow down because they feel, I am so great, so how can I bow down in front of anybody? Leave alone God. So, offering obeisances is a sign of humility, which also means we are accepting that authority. Okay, whether it is an advanced devotee, whether it's a spiritual master, whether it is a supreme lord, when we are offering obeisances, we are accepting their authority, which means we are ready to learn from them so that we can advance spiritually. So, we already heard about how Shukadev Goswami, as soon as he came out of his mother's womb, he left home. He did not want to stay. He did not want to undergo any ceremony. Now, in the Vedic scriptures, there are many ceremonies mentioned, the ceremony before one wants to conceive a child, a ceremony during the pregnancy, a ceremony after the child is born, a ceremony, another ceremony is called the thread ceremony, which is a sacred thread ceremony that happens where the boy receives it's called a Brahman thread. It's a sacred thread. So in India, this Vedic culture is still followed, but not in the West because most of them don't have this knowledge. So Vyasadev, or in fact, Sutta Goswami is explaining to the sages in this chapter about the Varnashrama system that is set up by the Supreme Lord. So there are four Varnas, that is Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra, which means Brahmana, the learned class who are very knowledgeable. Then Kshatriya, that's like the warrior class, those who fight in the wars. Then there is Vaishya, the business class people, and then Shudra, the labor class. These are the four Varnas. And then there are four ashramas. What are those ashramas? Brahmachari, Gruhastha, Vanaprastha, and Sannyas. Brahmachari means unmarried. Grihastha means married. Vanaprastha means retired. And Sannyas means renounced. So these are the four Varnas and ashramas that Shuta Goswami is explaining to the sages at Naimisharanya. Now, what is the purpose of this division? The only purpose is that one can cultivate knowledge and reach to the stage of pure love for the Supreme Lord. So, those who are wanting to study the Vedas, those who want to understand Srimad Bhagavatam, they should approach a guru, a bona fide guru. And Sutta Goswami is explaining that with the help and mercy of the Guru, if he is pleased with the disciple, then he gives a sacred thread only to a competent disciple, not just anybody. Which means one needs to not only hear, but also practice what we hear from the scriptures. Only one who is competent in studying the Vedas, they get that sacred thread. But Shukadev Goswami, he did not go through that ceremony at all. He just left. Why did he just leave? Because he was already liberated, a pure devotee. There was no need for him to go through these ceremonies. You see, the guru or the bona fide spiritual master plays a very, very important part in the life of a spiritual person, someone who wants to advance spiritually, someone who really wants to develop love for the Supreme Lord, then accepting a guru is very essential. Because accepting a guru is not a fashion, oh, my neighbor has a guru, so let me also go and get a guru. No, it's very, very serious business. So Shukadev Goswami, he did not wait for this ceremony at all. He left home and went to the forest. And his father, Vyasadev, he started feeling separation from his son. He was just out of the womb. Now, we already heard previously that he was already 16 years old. Shukadev Goswami was 16 years old when he came out of his mother's womb and he walked straight into the forest. So Vyasadeva was feeling separation. So here Shukadev Goswami is being we are getting the knowledge about the speaker of Srimad Bhagavatam, who is actually Shukadev Goswami. Now Sutta Goswami is just relating what he heard from Shukadev Goswami. So Sutta Goswami, he's offering obeisances to Shukadev Goswami, Sutta Goswami, to Shukadev Goswami, to his guru, to the great sages. See? So here Sutta Goswami is explaining so that the sages can assimilate this knowledge. Now, he is already a realized master of the Vedas and he is reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam. So, what did Shukadev Goswami do? He recited the Srimad Bhagavatam for the first time to Parikshit Maharaj. Now, in this chapter number 2 itself, the two verses are mentioned. The one that we recite before we start Srimad Bhagavatam, Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayat. This verse is in this chapter number 2. Before reciting this is what Shuta Goswami is saying. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, unto Lord Narayana, unto Nara Narayana Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. This is what is being mentioned here. So, if we can somehow or the other understand the importance of conquering. Now, the question is conquer what? Srimad Bhagavatam is meant for conquering the darkest region of material existence. You see, the problem is most have forgotten their relationship with the Supreme Lord. They have forgotten everything about spirituality and they are only focusing on enjoying the senses. That's their attraction. But if one wants to get liberated, then one needs to re-establish the relationship with the Supreme Lord. That is very, very important, you see. And the easiest and the most simple way to re-establish our relationship is by mantra meditation, by chanting. Chanting is the easiest way. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. That's the easiest way. All we need to do is chant very clearly. The words should be very clear because the potency of the Maha Mantra is in its sound vibration. So if we are going to do Hare Kish 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 Nam Nam Nam, then we are not getting the benefit. Has to be very clear. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. When we chant very clearly and in a particular speed, you see, last time someone asked me a question and I was answering and was explaining that it is the required dosage for us to become liberated is to chant 16 rounds of the Maha Mantra every day. 108 beads in the whole mala, which we call the mala, right? There are 108 beads and we chant the Maha Mantra on each bead. And when we chant clearly at the right speed, then it takes about 7 to 8 minutes to finish one round. So I remember asking this question last time, how long does it take to finish 16 rounds? It takes minimum 2 hours, 2.5 hours to finish 16 rounds. So if we are finishing our chanting in less than that time, then we are not chanting. That is what is called, I heard somewhere, it's not chanting, it is cheating, because we are not concentrating on the sound vibrations, it's not clear, it's not slow enough for us to finish those 16 rounds. So here Srila Prabhupada is explaining in this chapter that it is very, very important to re-establish our relationship. And that's possible by the very first step, which is correct and clear chanting. So Sutta Goswami is saying that your questions, O sages, your questions are worthy. Why? Because they are related to Lord Krishna. And such questions, he says, are capable of satisfying the self. So if we want satisfaction, then Srimad Bhagavatam is the answer. You see, people generally ask questions. If you see in any sphere of life, whether it's in the office, in business, relatives, friends, whoever, there's always question and answer. First thing we say, hey, how are you? That's a question, right? What are you doing? Where are you going? What's happening? How's life? All these questions, you see. So people are busy asking questions and getting answers every day. You see, take lawyers, politicians, students, everybody asking questions and getting answers. But are they getting satisfied? That's a big question. See, when we ask questions related to the body, then there's not much satisfaction. But when we ask questions for the satisfaction of the soul, that is when there is satisfaction. You see, and why is that? Because the food for the soul is spiritual knowledge and chanting. You see, so when we hear about Krishna, that brings satisfaction to the soul. So that's why we see in Srimad Bhagavatam, there's question and answers about what? About Krishna and his devotees. And that is very, very satisfying. Savai pumso paro dharmo yato bhakti radhokshje ahetuki aprahita yayatma suprasiddhati. The supreme occupation for all humanity is to attain loving devotional service unto the Supreme Lord. This is mentioned in this chapter. You see? And what kind of devotional service? It has to be unmotivated and uninterrupted. Many times people, take up Krishna consciousness, they take up devotional service because there is some motivation. Some want material benefit, some want spiritual benefit. You see, some want to improve their health, so they pray to the Lord. That's also okay. But at least one is performing devotional service. So devotional service should be actually unmotivated. There should be no motivation that, oh, if I do this, then this is what I'm going to get, etc., etc. No. And uninterrupted, which means we chant every day. Very important. Not that we chant only on Sundays or weekends or when we have time or, when it's a holiday. No, it has to be uninterrupted. Only then will one be satisfied. Why? Because performing devotional service like chanting and hearing and remembering, that helps one to become, you can say, Krishnized. That helps one to become pure. You see? So it's very important to re-establish our relationship with Krishna. This devotional service leads one to taking on more knowledge and getting detached. It's very sublime. We heard in Bhagavad Gita in chapter 12, Krishna tells Arjuna, even throughout the whole Bhagavad Gita, he tells Arjuna that devotional service is very sublime. Susukham kartum avyam. Susukham. It gives a lot of happiness. And it's easy. All one needs to do is mantra meditation, and that will lead one to eternal blissful life. You see, when we perform devotional service, Srila Prabhupada says, we understand what does the soul require. Then all the needs of the soul are met just by chanting. You see, the soul right now is encaged in this material body. We understand the word, heavy word, encaged, which means stuck inside this body. And that's not its original home. This body is not its original home. The original home of the spirit soul is spiritual body. You see? So the soul wants to come out of this material cage, the body, wants to become free and go to the original home, which is the spiritual world. And that complete freedom will be when the soul meets with the super soul, that is Krishna, within the heart. And that's possible through Bhakti Yoga. And guess what? According to Bhagavad Gita, Bhakti Yoga starts with chanting. You see, everyone in this material world wants to lead a healthy life. But no one really thinks about healthy soul, which means the soul which is completely satisfied. And that's possible only when one becomes self realized. That should be the goal of human form of life, not just eat, sleep, and be merry and have fun. Many times people say, oh, we haven't seen any life after death, so there's nothing after death. So why not enjoy? Let me enjoy. I met somebody recently, and that person was telling me that, well, it's a very short life and it's meant for enjoyment. So I'm going to try and enjoy and satisfy my senses as much as it is possible for the little lifetime that I have left. The first realization is that at least you understand little lifetime left. We don't know how much lifetime is left. It could be today, tomorrow, day after a few months, after a few years, whenever it is, but it is going to happen. So if we are just going to waste our human life to just enjoy the senses, then we are actually losing the goal of human life. We are actually wasting our human form of life. So here the sages, they are inquiring from Sutta Goswami, we want to know the summary of the Vedas, and that's what Srimad Bhagavatam is. So Sutta Goswami, he's explaining in the very beginning importance of devotional service. And then he explains the three levels of realization: Brahman, Paramatma, Bhagavan. These are the three levels of realization. Brahman means one where one only realizes the Supreme Lord as rays, beautiful rays, like the sun has those sun rays, like that. It's called Brahma Jyoti. That is the lowest level of realization. Next level above that is Paramatma realization, which means one realizes that Krishna is in the heart as a super soul, as Paramatma. But Srila Prabhupada says the highest level of realization is Bhagavan realization, which means realizing Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Very nicely, this is explained by Prabhupada with a great analogy, which is, let's say, the sun, right? There are rays of the sun. So that is one level of realization that, yes, sun means rays. Then there is, above that is another realization that, sun is a planet. That is second realize. But the highest realization is that there is a sun god inside that sun planet. That's the highest realization about the sun. So those who are seriously inquisitive, whether it is a sage or any student, they are the ones who can realize the absolute truth. How? By rendering devotional service. How? Something that's based on what we have heard from bona fide source. Very, very important. And then Sutta Goswami goes on to explain four kinds of human beings: karmis, jnanis, yogis, and devotees. Karmis, they are materialistic people. They are only interested in how to satisfy the senses, the material senses. That's about it. Jnanis, they are after getting knowledge, knowledge, knowledge. Yogis, we know those who perform yoga, right? Different kinds of yoga. Devotees, they are the ones who are always keeping their goal in mind, which is to become self realized, get a spiritual body, and go back to the spiritual world. Now, karmis, they are materialistic, but the other three, jnanis, yogis, and devotees, they are all transcendental. You see? Devotees, of course, are first class because they have full realization. Second class is partial realization, which is Paramatma in the heart. And the third class is barely realizing anything. So the Supreme Lord can be realized only through devotional service. So Sutta Goswami is telling the sages, with one pointed attention, one should constantly hear. Hear about what? About Krishna, who is the protector of the devotees. You see? So that means in Kali Yuga, we can see the Supreme Lord through our ears. How? By hearing. When we hear, then we develop a taste for hearing more. And then that leads to putting that into practice, what we've heard, and that leads to self realization. And guess what? With the help of devotional service, with the help of just remembering Krishna, the previous karma can be destroyed. We learned that in Bhagavad Gita last chapter, 18th chapter, verse number 66. Sarva dharman parityagya mam ekam sharanam raja. Aham tuvam sarva pape bhyo. Sarva means all. Pap means sins. He says, I'll clear out all your past sins by how? By just surrendering unto Krishna. What does surrender mean? Understanding and following his instructions. So, Sutta Goswami is saying, who will not pay attention to the message of the Supreme Lord? If you want liberation, if you want to get free of past karma, then it's important to hear, chant, and remember the Supreme Lord. That will lead one to spiritual life, progress in spiritual life. You see, then what will happen? All the senses and the body get spiritualized. And finally, one becomes liberated from this whole material bondage. But then again, just hearing is not sufficient. Just taking on more and more knowledge, that's not sufficient. Because all this hearing and taking on knowledge should be backed up with actual, practical devotional service. Theory is good, but we also need practicals. And that is why in each class I talk about chanting the holy names of the Lord. You see? Constantly hearing, constantly chanting, constantly remembering. Then one will develop a natural liking for hearing about Krishna. Then there will be a natural liking to serve advanced devotees. And serving advanced devotees is a great service, because such great devotees are called Mahatmas, Mahatmas. They are great souls. What do? They give this knowledge to others. They preach about Krishna and they urge people, please chant, please hear, please remember Krishna. So here Sutta Goswami is telling the sages that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is a super soul in everyone's heart. He is a benefactor of truthful devotee. You see, if you remember in Bhagavad Gita, we learned one of the austerities of speech is honesty, to be truthful. So the Supreme Lord, he cleanses the desire for material enjoyment and urges the devotee to hear more about Krishna. And that urge develops by practice. You see, Krishna, he is present in his holy name also. So when we chant purely without any offenses, Krishna is present, because there's no difference between Krishna and his holy name. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he has given us this Maha Mantra, and he says there are no rules for chanting. You can chant anywhere, anytime, but please chant purely, very clearly. Each and every word is very clear, loud enough so we can hear, and in good speed so that we can get full benefit. See, Krishna, he sees our sincere endeavors. He sees how eager are we. Then he arranges for us to go back to the spiritual world. And to go there, one has to be sinless. No more sin, no more baggage of past karma. Then Suta Goswami talks about the second verse that we recite just before Srimad Bhagavatam, which is Nashta Prayeshu Abhedrishu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki. By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam and by rendering service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed. And loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. That is the remedy for eliminating all inauspiciousness from the heart. Whatever inauspiciousness is there in our heart, in our mind, all that is removed. Which means all the obstacles that are there on the path of bhakti, they are removed. And the easy way is mantra meditation and associating with Bhagavatas. Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. So there are two kinds of Bhagavat. One is book Bhagavat, which is Srimad Bhagavatam, and another is a person Bhagavat, that is a pure devotee of the Lord. So if one can please a pure devotee of the Lord, then and only then can one understand Srimad Bhagavatam. Then when loving service is established in the heart, then all the other modes of passion and ignorance, they go away. No more impurities in the heart. What are the impurities? Lust, anger, greed, pride, envy, jealousy, all that is removed. And that leads to a devotee become very happy. Why? Because the devotee is now in the mode of goodness and progressing towards the mode of pure goodness. So Suta Goswami is telling the sages, when one is in the mode of pure goodness, that person becomes enlivened. How? With the help of knowledge. Of course, most people in this Kali Yuga, they are in passion or ignorance, full of impurities. You see, in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Manushyanam sahasreshu, right? Sahasreshu, out of thousands and thousands of people, only one will try for liberation. See? So most are in the mode of passion or ignorance and full of impurities. But if one tries to perform prescribed duties, tries to become self-realized, then the knot is broken. That knot of illusion is gone. The knot of pride is gone. And again, when Krishna sees our sincere endeavors, he helps us from within. And then loving devotional service is established in our hearts, and that breaks the cycle of karma, breaks the cycle of birth and death. So Suta Goswami is saying, since time immemorial, all transcendentalists, they are rendering devotional service to Krishna, which enlivens the self. And then he explains Krishna taking on three forms: Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. For what? For creation, maintenance, and destruction. But one can derive ultimate benefit from Lord Vishnu. Now, here in Srimad Bhagavatam, we'll see some of the knowledge from the Bhagavad Gita is also repeated. Why? Because Bhagavad Gita is the essence of Srimad Bhagavatam. So just like in Bhagavatam, Krishna talked about three modes of material nature. Here Suta Goswami is telling the sages that passion is better than ignorance, but goodness is better than passion. So in the mode of goodness, one can realize Krishna. So it's important to rise above these three modes and come to pure goodness. And for that, a bona fide spiritual master is necessary so he can help us progress. So these great sages, they perform devotional service to Krishna, and that is why it helped them to derive ultimate benefit. So those who follow these great sages will also achieve liberation. You see, those who are serious about liberation, they are the ones who are not envious. They are the ones who worship Lord Vishnu or Krishna. They don't worship the demigods. You see, Vedas, they indicate the ultimate object of knowledge, which is Krishna. So one should try to please Krishna. So when we perform Bhakti Yoga, it will help us to realize Krishna, who is the supreme, and all the austerities that we perform should be performed with the motivation that we want to understand Krishna. He is our supreme goal of life. So important to revive our relationship with Krishna. That is the purpose of the Vedas. We learned in chapter 15, verse 15, Vedescha sarver aham eva vedyo vedanta krit vedavid eva chaham. Krishna says, I am the compiler of the Vedas. From me, from these Vedas, person learns how to know me, learns to understand me. That is the purpose of the Vedas, to know Krishna. So Sutta Goswami says in the beginning of creation, this material creation, Krishna created different energies. And then he entered into it as super soul and he pervades in all things. You see? So he says that Krishna maintains all the planets, all the inhabitants. That includes the demigods also. He incarnates at different times in different places and he performs different pastimes. And the purpose is to reclaim those who are in the mode of pure goodness. That means if we want to go back to the spiritual world, it's important that we come to the stage of pure goodness. Now, from this chapter of Bhagavatam, we understand there are innumerable universes. And in each universe, there are innumerable planets. And the reason is so that, you see, all these pastimes are there. Krishna performs these pastimes so that he can help us develop that desire, the desire to go back to him into the spiritual world. He wants us to stop suffering in this material world and go to our original home, which is full of happiness, bliss, satisfaction, peace, everything you name it. But we need to qualify to go back to the spiritual world. And that begins with chanting Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, very attentively. That is the remedy for eliminating all inauspiciousness from the heart. Now, you see, we have an opportunity to remove impurities. Day after tomorrow, which is today is already 1st March. On March 3rd, which is day after tomorrow, is a very auspicious day, which is Gaura Purnima, which means the appearance of Krishna as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu 540 years ago. So if we want to progress spiritually, it would be very beneficial for us to fast on March 3rd. And that fasting begins from tomorrow midnight till the sunset of March 3rd. We fast. Now, for health reasons, if we are not able to fast completely, then we can drink water. If that is also not practical, we can eat fruits, but nothing else. And then after sunset, we can break the fast with the same prasadam that we eat on Ekadashi, right? No grains, no beans. So this is how we can observe this auspicious appearance day of Lord Krishna as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and receive his blessings on this very auspicious day. So it's my humble request to all of you is, if you like, I don't know which places you all are located, you can Google and see Gaura Purnima or appearance day of Lord Chaitanya 2026, in your area. Like for Atlanta, it is March 3rd. So please fast and remove all inauspiciousness from the heart. So I'm going to stop now. And if anyone has any comments or questions, you are very welcome to ask.